Naam, bila shaka kama ilivyo ada kila siku Jumatatu kuanzia saa 3 kamili saa za Afrika Mashariki hadi masajira ya saa 4 tunajumuika ndani ya kipindi hiki cha The Final Whistle, ikiwa ni kipindi cha kuangazia ligi kuu Uingereza, mambo yalivyokuwa katika wikendi iliyopita, ikiwa ni wikendi ya 31 katika ligi kuu taifa England maarufu English Premier League. Karibu sana mtazamaji, lakini pia mpenzi wa kipindi cha The Final Whistle ndani ya makala mengine ya The Final Whistle ndani ya Walk with Sagini. Mimi naitwa Jason Sagini, askofu mkuu wa michezo ulimwenguni, na nipo na kikosi kizima cha mashabiki magwiji shakiki wa kandanda katika soka la England. Yorkshire, shabiki mkubwa wa Manchester City, bingwa wa kombe la Carabao msimu huu, lakini pia nafasi ya 3 Benso Ik Senior, shabiki wa Manchester United. Achambali pia Brolin, shabiki wa Chelsea anayesuasua katika 5 bora katika ligi kuu soka England. Lakini pia namuona shabiki mwingine shakiki wa timu ya Manchester United, Derek Jumba, tayari kuweza kurindima, lakini pia tayari kuweza kumwaga mtama na kutema madini kuhusiana timu yake ya Manchester City, lakini pia klabu ya Manchester United. Karibu sana mtazamaji wetu, pia una nafasi ya kusema nasi kupitia pale kwenye comment section. Unaweza kuniambia, maana tunakwenda kujadiliana mambo mengi, ikiwemo ushindi wa City hapo jana katika kombe la Carabao, ambapo labda huenda ina maana gani katika harakati za kunyakua ubingwa wa EPL msimu huu kwa klabu hiyo ya Man City mara baada ya kuifunga Arsenal katika kombe lile la Carabao. Lakini pia je, huenda labda alifanya makosa gani mkufunzi wa timu ya Arsenal Mikel Arteta kumweka nje David Raya na kumwanzisha goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga katika mechi jana dhidi ya Manchester City. Lakini pia kusuasua kwa Spurs katika ligi kuu soka England. Je, ni wakati kwamba kocha mkuu Igor Tudor ambaye ni kaimu kocha afutwe kazi ama aendelee kuhudumu kama kocha mkuu wa timu ya Spurs? Lakini pia kusuasua kwa klabu ya Chelsea na Liverpool katika harakati za kufuzu 4 bora kuelekea michuano ya klabu bingwa barani Ulaya msimu ujao. Je, wanaweza kufuzu au la? Lakini pia je, uamuzi ulipelekea Manchester United kupoteza alama katika mechi yao ya wikendi siku ya Ijumaa dhidi ya Bournemouth? Hayo mengi ndani ya kipindi cha The Final Whistle, ukiwa nami Jason Sagini, the Sports Archbishop. Tunaanza moja kwa moja. Karibu sana wenzangu wote na kipindi cha leo, na tunaanza bila shaka kuangazia matokeo yalivyokuwa katika wikendi ya 31 ya ligi kuu England, na hivi ndivyo mambo yalivyokwenda chini. Bila shaka, this how things went down. Manchester drew 2-2 on Friday before Brighton, of course, handling Liverpool a 2-1 win or a 2-1 loss, being a 10th loss for Liverpool this season. Fulham beat Burnley 3-1. Chelsea walifungwa na Everton 3-0. Amini semeni, mabingwa dunia wanafungwa na Everton 3-0, ikiwa ni mara ya 4 wanakwenda bila kupata ushindi katika mechi zimepita kwa timu ya Chelsea. Leeds wakitoka bila na Brentford. Newcastle wakafungwa amini semeni na Sunderland magoli 2-1, na Aston Villa wakifunga West Ham 2-0. Nayo Spurs sasa hivi wakiwa alama 1 tu katika eneo la kushuka daraja baada ya kufungwa na Nottingham Forest magoli 3-0. Hivyo ndivyo mambo yalivyokwenda katika wikendi ya 31 katika ligi kuu soka England, na tunaanzia hapa bila shaka na kwamba licha kwamba walitoka 2-2, bila shaka Derek Jumba, Manchester hawa the Red Devils bila shaka walionewa Ijumaa, bila shaka kama sijakosea.
Sagini, unanipata?
Ndio, nakupata.
Nadhani let me say thank you so much for an impromptu mwaliko. Niko sawa. I thank God for everything. So going to your question, kama Manchester ilionewa ama what is my take about Manchester on Friday? I think it was a good match. Kupata point pale uwanja wa Bournemouth ilikuwa ni kibarua kweli kweli, because if you look at the last time we played there, it was not a good ending, and ni timu like imetuzoea, because also the last time we played against them, I think it ended around 4-4. So getting a point against Bournemouth, it was a big achievement to me. So going to the details of that match, on my side, it was a good match, but the referee took the man of the match. Why? The match had so many controversials, including so many penalties that were awarded. All those penalties that were awarded were deserving only when Amad Diallo was fouled and it was not a penalty. So to me, I was wondering, why was it not a penalty? And yet Ahmad was actually fouled in the box. So my take, it was like Manchester were denied a clear penalty, and they were denied a win for that matter, because we would have secured 3 points and also moved somehow close to Manchester City. So that is my take about it.
Bila shaka ni swali lilokuwa naweza kwamba labda Manchester walionewa Ijumaa dhidi ya Bournemouth au la, na anasema kwamba bila shaka referee aliamua kwamba ndivyo sivyo, na akaamua kutopeana penalty moja, lakini akizaidia penalty nyingine upande wa Bournemouth, lakini penalty moja upande wa timu ya Manchester United. Lakini pia kando na hilo, I don't want us to dive so much into the Manchester United game against Bournemouth, but I want us to straight go into yesterday's match, whereby Arsenal, of course, they decided to make the whole world happy by losing to Manchester City in what was another final, the first final title test for Mikel Arteta, and it fails. And the quadruple dream now fails. Man City are the winners of the Carabao Cup for the 9th time and a 5th time for Pep Guardiola, who now becomes the only manager to have won the most EFL Cup wins as a manager, surpassing the likes of Alex Ferguson and Jose Mourinho as the previous managers who had won the most EFL Cups at their clubs. What a win in what a fashion. Of course, Yorkshire, as a Man City fan, I'm pretty much sure your title race now is back into charge.
Shukran sana Sagini kwa wakati huu, na nashukuru sana pia kurejea kwa the final whistle. Changu cha kwanza ni kusema tu, wakati mtu huwa anakopeshwa deni huwa anaona imemsaidia sana, na anasema ni pesa mingi ambayo labda imemsaidia, lakini wakati wa kurudisha mnakorofishana, unasikia akisema hata ilikuwa 1,000 tu. Na hivyo ndivyo ilikuwa na Arsenal wakati walikuwa wakitaka kushinda the Carabao Cup, walisema ni kikombe muhimu sana, lakini baada ya Manchester City kushinda, baada ya game nilikuwa nimeketi na mashabiki wa Arsenal wanasema Carabao peke yake, sisi tunataka EPL, tunataka Champions League. Na cha muhimu ni kwamba ile momentum tayari momentum ambayo walikuwa nayo inaondoka polepole, na Manchester City jana walicheza vizuri sana, kwa sababu mashabiki wengi wamekuwa wakilalamika kwamba goalkeeper wetu alitucost. Hapana, kwa sababu ukiangalia makocha wengi sana wakati wa mechi za Carabao na FA huwa wanachezesha magolkeeper tofauti, walinda lango wanakuwa tofauti sana. Na tofauti ya Manchester City na Arsenal ilikuwa kwamba James Trafford ambaye alikuwa Manchester City akiwa Youth Academy alienda Burnley na akarejea. Hakununuliwa kama a second option, alinunuliwa, lakini Donnarumma akatokea kuwa the better option. Kwa hiyo he has a lot of quality compared to Kepa Arrizabalaga, lakini kwa upande wa Arsenal pia siwezi kusema kwamba sio the better option, because amekuwa akiwabeba kuanzia wakati michuano hiyo imeanza. Kwa hiyo excuse ambayo Arsenal wanasema sidhani kama ni valid. Manchester City walicheza vizuri na walideserve kushinda game yao jana, ambayo pia inawapatia momentum ya kuwakimbiza kwenye ligi. Kumbuka bado wanakuja pale Etihad na haitakuwa rahisi kupata point pale.
Alright, bila shaka amesema kwamba it puts Man City back on the momentum charge ahead of the title race with Arsenal. Let me talk to an Arsenal fan here. Rukus, asante kwa kujiunga nasi bila shaka kwa leo. Rukus, yesterday what went wrong? Because in the first half, you guys played so pretty well, but second half mkaamua kubwaga manyanga. Nini kiliharibika kocha Mikel Arteta?
First of all, thank you so much for allowing me into this panel. Asanteni sana. I had to come, of course, ni Tete team once again on a very hard spot.
Yeah.
Umeniuliza swali gani tena? Hebu niulize swali tena tafadhali.
What went wrong? What went wrong?
What went wrong was the second half. I didn't like the second half. First half, very good. We played well. We had 2 clear chances, never converted, and that was a mistake. Of course, that was Havertz and Saka. And then what happened is we just crumbled quickly after conceding the first goal. And of course, the first goal, the way we conceded also was a big issue because it came from a blunder from a second goalkeeper. I'm going to dig deep into that one very much soon. We also crumbled quickly, which was unlike of us because we have shown so much mental fortitude for the past 18 months. We've been, not 18, for the past 8 months we've been playing, and we've been the stead mark for the Premier League teams. So that yesterday exposed our fragility in a way I didn't like also. In terms of tactical talking points, of course, Raya should have started in this final. Just because of his reaction rate and how he comes down the back line. Kepa had some moments of being fragile. Before even the first goal came in, there was an instance where he almost caused a big blunder, and which was very uncalled for. So he didn't have composure. I think Arteta will be taking notes for that. And then also there was the midfield imbalance. Of course, the lack of Odegaard and Eze really killed the tempo. Our build-up play was nowhere. There was no link-up play between the defense and the attack. Martin Zubimendi was overcrowded, let me say that. There were 4 attackers who would come on you when you touched the ball in that midfield. It was very hard for us to play in that midfield. And so, of course, because we didn't have anyone who knows how to get off the deep press like Odegaard, it became very hard for us. And then, of course, just game management failure. Of course, that was just one of the few things maybe Arteta needs to work on. And then, of course, City's brilliance and experience. That is Pep Guardiola in the big cups. I was looking at the stats that out of 22, he has won 18 cup finals. So you can imagine, yeah. So yeah, that is just what happened. It is a small cup still. And I know the haters would have come for us and told us how this is a small cup, even if you won the Carabao. And if we didn't win, of course, this is what you're getting, the backlash. So we're here for the banter. Lakini, May. So many. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, so May. Anyway, guys, let me just remind you that yesterday's loss to Manchester City for Arsenal, it officially killed the quadruple dream for Arsenal, because at the moment they were in 4 cup finals, 1 being the Carabao Cup, the other 2 being they are leading in the Premier League, and they're also in the quarterfinals. The UEFA Champions League was also in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. So now the quadruple dream is being shaved off to a treble dream in what could be seemingly possible for Arsenal. But then at the moment, 1 cup gone. The quadruple dream is off. But then one of the biggest questions is Mikel Arteta's choice in his first 11 yesterday. A lot of fans have been faced with the type of the lineup that he started yesterday against Man City. Mikel Arteta chose to start Kepa Arrizabalaga ahead of David Raya. And as Ruku says, that Kepa should have been benched, but then Yorkshire Samapamba, Kepa Arrizabalaga deserved to start that game yesterday. So let me just hear from a Chelsea fan. Brolin, in your own perspective, do you believe Arteta was wrong to stay loyal with Kepa in the starting lineup for Man City yesterday?
Sagini, once again, thank you for this, because the last time I was there was back in 2022. Now, for Kepa and Raya, let's talk of them. Kepa's experience with finals Raya has zero experience with finals, if we can talk. Big finals. Tukiangalia, Kepa amecheza finals mingi. Ndio anakonga na saga mingi sana pale Wembley. So, for Arteta to have to be loyal to the guy, manze ilikuwa tu like to relieve Raya of everything, cause ulibai Kepa ya nini. Your number 2 lazima kuokoe time ya Carabao. If you check other teams, even Man City, ukiangalia, it was not Donnarumma on the post. So for me, I think it was just lack of the team mentality, because Rice was nowhere to be seen during second half. So everyone was just disappeared during second half. So Arsenal mentality ili shift, I don't know. Sijui walikuja kuwa relax second half, knowing that it was going for a draw. I think Arteta alikuwa amemwambia tu hii ni draw, so everyone was just relaxed waiting for a draw. But Man City came otherwise. So, you know, Pep is just a different guy when it comes to finals. Ukimwonyesha you are relaxed, ndo anakuuma. So it's just a different. Mi naona tu Kepa was right to be there, and will always be there. And when Arsenal feel like Kepa is not enough for them, let them come for Sanchez. We are done with them.
All right, let me hear from Bensoik. Bensoik, Brolin says that Kepa was rightful to start in that game. Let me ask you something. As a United fan, there's a time when I remember in the Europa League, or was in the FA Cup, Manchester under Ten Hag, he started De Gea ahead of Romero, and Manchester lost that game. United fans were all over saying, why did Ten Hag start De Gea ahead of Romero, who was the one who has been playing in the tournament since the start? So here comes a situation whereby Arsenal, I believe this could be one of the, or this might have been one of the agreements in terms of when they were signing the contract for David Raya and Kepa Arrizabalaga ahead of the season, that Kepa Arrizabalaga will be handling UEFA Champions League and the Premier League. But for you, Arrizabalaga, you'll be handling the domestic cup competitions. So if you are Arteta, would you have started Kepa Arrizabalaga ahead of David Raya yesterday, or would you have changed the norm and start David Raya because he's your number 1 choice goalkeeper?
Sagine, natumai unanipata. Mwanzo mimi nashukuru kuja kwenye show. Pia imekuwa while like 3 months sijakuwa on, but I'm happy to be back. As a manager, in a manager's perspective, naweza sema kwamba I agree with Brolin kwamba Arteta was right to play Raya kwa sababu ya kitu moja, si hata a matter of contract, it's only a matter of as a coach ni decision unafaa ku make. We are still in at least four competitions, zote zinahitaji capability everyone, and we can't overwork Raya. Tunam-overload na kila kitu kwamba he has to be here every moment. So pia nasema Kepa anafaa kucheza hiyo game, but pia ni disagree na watu wengine ambao wamesema kwamba before ati Kepa cost the game. Kepa didn't cost anything. Actually, Pep is a genius. He's a mental genius when it comes to tactics. First half realize hawa watu wanacheza na wana depend on set pieces as usual. Akasema I'll go and high press. By high pressing, I'll play a donut shape where I deny them playing the ball in the midfield. They won't build up from the back. They don't build up from the back. They can't reach into our scoring zone in a dangerous area. That means they can't reach here. No set pieces, no corners. So what do? We just lock them in their own half. Alafu tunawachoke, we play that ball until that moment where we get a goal. That goal, defenders pia walilala. So with Kepa, for ready to come out of nowhere and score, we have to have someone watching the blind side of the game. So it's not about the goalkeeper. It's about the tactical play that was played in the second half.
Nisome jumbe mbili kadhaa. Bila shaka nisome jumbe mbili kadhaa kabla ya kwenda mbali kwenye kipindi, manake still also want to hear Jumba's sentiments and also Yorkshire's sentiment about David Raya and Kepa Arrizabalaga. Here on Facebook page, Virginia Sancho is watching live. Asante sana. Brian Kuya is also tuned in. Captain Z is also tuned in, alongside some other guys like Cornelius Nasongo and Timothy Nyei. Wote wanasema kwamba uko ndani ya kipindi cha leo cha The Final Whistle. Asante sana kwa hilo, na zidi pia kuchangia mada hii kwa kuniambia unahisi vipi. Je, jana walifaa kuanza Kepa Arrizabalaga ama alifaa kuanza David Raya katika mchezo jana dhidi ya Arsenal dhidi ya klabu ya Manchester City? Now let me hear from Jumba. Raya over Arrizabalaga yesterday, who would you prefer?
If I was Arteta, the decision that Arteta took yesterday, playing Arrizabalaga over Raya, for me it was a good decision, because all along we have known that Arrizabalaga has been playing in the cup game. So kama amekufikisha hapo kwa finali, why wouldn't you actually give him the final? So to me he deserved. Then on the other hand, just overthinking. When you look at these two keepers, fortunately they come from the same country, that is Spain. And ukiangalia like for the last 2 seasons, Raya has been outstanding. He has been the main man. So again, maybe I would give him a chance so that I see how he'll play that final. Because to me, like I've heard many Arsenal fans saying that that cup was not worth. It was not worth winning. But to me, what Arteta did wrong was not even what Arteta did. It was not even the goalkeeper. The tactically was outweighed by the way I've had my panelists saying there that aliwezwa like na mbinu ya Pep, because we saw how the match was boring in the first half, only to come and realize that in the second half mechi ilibadilika because of the tactics za Pep alitumia. So to me I would choose Arrizabalaga over Raya for that matter, because amekuwa akicheza hizo games zote za cups na amekuwa akiwabeba. Also another point or another key thing to consider there, that when you look at in terms of maybe Arteta alidhani like hii mechi inaweza enda paka hata penalty. So Arrizabalaga is also very outstanding when it comes to kutoa mapenalty na vitu kama hizo. So the match was only tactically, not about the goalkeeping.
All right. Let me hear from Yorkshire. Kepa Arrizabalaga over David Raya, and because you initially said that this win yesterday against Arsenal propels you back into the title race and gives you more energy and momentum into chasing for that league this season ahead of the after winning the Carabao Cup. What are your sentiments about David Raya? Was he trying to start? Because for me, if you ask me, I think Kepa Arrizabalaga deserved more to start ahead of David Raya. Why? Because he is the one who has been playing in the FA Cup, in the Carabao Cup since the beginning. So there's no possibility whereby a manager chooses to strip him off the starting position ahead of another goalkeeper who has not been playing that competition. So I think for me, as per what Mikel Arteta said after the game, that he will do it again and again because mistakes do happen in football. I stand with Mikel Arteta on that. What is your sentiment?
I think Sagini, Kepa Arrizabalaga was not brought in because of talent. He was brought in because of experience. Because huyu sio jamaa ambaye utasema tu sasa amechukuliwa kwa sababu is a good talent. Ni jamaa ambaye amekuwa akicheza hizi mechi mingi, amekuwa pale Chelsea na ameprove kwamba ni goalkeeper mzuri apart from the small mistakes. Na kitu cha pili, it also comes to your football knowledge. How do you understand the game as a fan? Kwa sababu kama shabiki huwezi ukasema kwamba Kepa alichangia kushindwa mechi hiyo, kwa sababu kama Manchester City wanaweza kufunga goli moja, mbona Arsenal wasifunge? Kwa hiyo si watu tunasema the best way of defending is through attacking. Now that is what Manchester City did. Walijua kwamba Arsenal ni wazuri sana kudefend. What we do ni to attack sana, warudi nyuma na tupate nafasi zetu. Kwa hiyo mimi nadhani kwamba chaguo la Mikel Arteta kumweka Kepa kwanza mechi hiyo ni 100% correct, because hiyo ndo mechi yake. Na pia tunakuja kwa mambo ya contract, as much as we are assuming that it is not written, Kepa akija pale anajua anajua kabisa David Raya ndio the first goalkeeper na anafaa kuenda chini kwenye contract na angalie mimi nitacheza wapi, because David Raya has been exceptional. Kwa hiyo ni jukumu lake ku make sure Arsenal wana propel past that. Kwa hiyo mimi sioni kama kuna mistake Kepa kuanza. Manchester City walikuwa the better team second half, na Arsenal walikuja na mentality ya kudefend sana zaidi ya kuattack, na Manchester City walikuja waka open game second half wakashinda mechi hiyo.
Bila shaka. Ben Soik, I want to hear from you and answer me this, because Yorkshire alisema kwamba hapo awali kwamba ushindi wa jana unawapatia nguvu katika kurejea katika kinyang'anyiro cha kunyakua ubingwa EPL msimu dhidi ya klabu ya Arsenal. After yesterday's win against Arsenal at Wembley, do you think City now have the title momentum?
Sagini, no, City have no title momentum. Sisi kama haters wa Arsenal, we have been waiting for City to narrow the gap, lakini wameshindwa sana, hata nyinyi mnajua. So hawana momentum. What happened yesterday was unfortunate. And it's only that Arsenal decided to sit back and wait for penalties. But them being at watakuwa title watachase Arsenal towards the title at the end of May, no. On my end, I will just say, as much as I hate Arsenal, this is gone, because City can't win consecutive matches.
Okay, let me hear from an Arsenal fan now. Yesterday's loss against Man City, I'm trying to think, Rukus, a situation whereby, let's say you guys had a 3-point lead or a 4-point lead ahead of Man City in the title race in the Premier League, and then yesterday you lost in the cup final, and taking on how, or regarding on how you guys played in that cup final yesterday, whereby I think a larger percentage you guys gambled in terms of play, in terms of approaching a final, in terms of managing a final. That's not how a team plays for a final. I'm trying to think, if you guys were ahead of Man City by 2 points or 4 points, probably, could be, might be, mngegamble na mngepoteza huo bingwa. Yesterday's loss, does it worry you that you might lose the league also?
Why would I be worried when I'm 9 points clear? Anyway, first, don't stray my thoughts. One, nimesikiza vile mmekuwa mkisema as panelist. My defense on choosing Raya over Kepa would be, elite teams pick their best 11. They don't pick their fair 11. Okay? So yes, Kepa has been guiding us through the cup stages. Of course, all the way he was able even to save us in the penalty kick out. But you can imagine how many penalties he guessed wrong before he guessed right. Even I was watching someone, he was giving an example. Even a bad watch will still be able to give you the correct time for even a couple of minutes, maybe 2 minutes or 3 seconds before it defaults. So that's the same thing. If you look at their first 11, it's not the first 11 that has been starting through the cup finals. The likes of Lewis Kelly were not there. Who else? Calafiori, I think. Norgard was nowhere there. He was not even as a sub option. But when it comes to the keeper, it's where we draw the line. So for me, I think Arteta should have been bold enough and just gone with Raya because he trusts him more. That's the reason why he's the first 11. And if you compare with City's James Trafford, he was actually signed as a first option. It's only that Donnarumma was found available in January, and that's why they signed him. But James Trafford was the first option signing for Man City come summer. So that is the difference when it comes to this. Anyway, when it comes to things going wrong, the mentality gap is still there. I'm worried as a fan because it's still a mentality gap. City showed calm and ruthlessness in these situations where they were attacking, and Arsenal showed a bit of emotion and reactive. Also, I'm worried about Saliba. I don't know if he has an injury or anything, but I hope not. Now, City pressed, they used, is it the 4-3-3 shape? And then in possession, they did shift to 3-2-4-1, if I'm not wrong. But we were using the 2-3-5 in possession. So we had an issue of tact here because City would press in, is it a diamond or a donut shape? So they would force us wide in that instance. And it was very hard for us to break their lines. That is beating the fast press. Like I remember I told you there was just, is it Doku, Haaland, Chucky, and someone else. They were really pressing us hard on the ball. And it was hard for us to beat the press because we didn't have someone who is good in tight spaces like Odegaard, who would always drop deep to help in the build-up phases. So that was one of the tactical displays that was there that was hard for us to overcome from the get-go. And so it was hard for us to transition into any attack. If you look at Martin Zubimendi, that is not his strong thing. He's good with distributing the ball in the midfield and helping to clear the line or protecting the back line. That is his work. But he's not the person who will be expected to beat the press in tight spaces every time. He might do it one or twice. And the same for Declan Rice, because Declan Rice still came as a natural 6. He's only been playing at 8 because at least his game level has gone up. So those are the things in terms of tactics that are affecting us going forward. Now, also Saka, there is a Saka issue. Saka wasn't really at his best. I don't know why or what could be the reason. And then Arteta, to make it worse, decided to put all the Sakas in. So there was no midfielder there who could help us in ball distribution or transitioning. So the game was just chaotic at the end of the day. Yeah, so those are the only things I'm worried about.
Okay, great. So Rukus, before I let you go for some few minutes before coming back to you, I wanted to answer me this question. You are now remaining with how many trophies? 3 trophies out of 4 that you could have won this season.
Yeah.
How many do you think you'll still win this season?
I'm still hopeful of the Champions League and the Premier League. I'm not really in for the FA Cup, if you ask me. I didn't feel like we were really committed to the Carabao Cup yesterday. But he quadruple not what is it? Treble winning. It's all other people's. If you listen to the haters are the ones who are really putting the pressure on Arsenal. For me, I'm even okay with us just winning the Premier League this season because we haven't won a cup in 5 years and 7 months. And
so Rukus,
the FA Cup.
So Rukus, if you were to advise Mikel Arteta, because some of the fans are saying that Mikel should prioritize the biggest trophy that he wants to win this season, would you advocate for that? And which trophy would you advocate for Mikel Arteta to prioritize ahead of others?
I'd advocate him to go for every trophy, but first focus on every game at a time. We need to improve our game approach, and our mentality needs to show in these big games, especially. I remember the game against Manchester United at home. I saw it. We didn't respond. We did not respond in that game. Manchester United caught us at the last minute. It was shocking. But it showed we were not really attacking them as we should have. And that is the problem. The mentality gap is still there for me. I feel like there's some certain things that need to click. Maybe it's just the fear of winning the trophy. Maybe these boys have never won a trophy, so they don't know. It's a lot of pressure for us. We are playing literally almost after every 3 days. So these boys, maybe they need to rest and just re-energize, introspect, come back stronger, go for it.
All right, great. Let me just read some comments here on our Facebook page here. Derek Jumba is saying I should give equal time for everyone. Anyway, I'm coming there shortly, but let me just read some comments here. Majida Sancho is saying congrats City, asante sana kwa ujumbe wako. Lakini pia namuona Timothy Ngei anasema hello to you too. Na Songo Cornelius anasema niko ndani kaka, asante sana kutenga muda na kujiunga nasi pale kwenye Facebook comment section. Pia na kuona Eric Robert unasema kwamba it was Arsenal against the whole world Banawe. Pole sana, ndivyo kunavyokwenda unapokuwa wewe ndiye ndovu ni ku. Virginia Sancho anasema kwamba Arsenal bure kabisa, ndivyo anavyosema. Captain Zero anasema kwamba Arsenal didn't play for sure, midfield was dead, na huu ndio mwanzo wa mwisho wao, hata ligi hawatapata. Brian Kuya anasema Kepa deserved because there was agreement Kepa to play Carabao and FA while Raya EPL and Champions League. Anasema kwamba for the loss we as Arsenal were caught off guard tactically and that should fuel us to better in the Premier League. Asante sana kwa hilo. Now I want us to switch gears away from Arsenal and Man City, and now I want us to switch gears to another topic of discussion here, whereby Spurs this weekend, siamini, walifungwa magoli 3-0 na Nottingham Forest katika mechi ambayo inawacha Spurs alama moja pekee tu juu ya eneo la kushushwa daraja katika EPL kuelekea ligi ya daraja la pili ya EFL Championship. Je, ni wakati kwamba kocha mkuu wa timu ya Spurs Igor Tudor ambaye ni kaimu kocha kwamba awachishwe kazi ama amalize msimu? Na je, Spurs huenda ikashuka daraja au la? Derek Jumba.
Wow, Sagini, nahurumia Spurs sana bana. Yesterday I watched their match against Nottingham Forest and I couldn't believe, because the way things were boiling, every minute you could just know that Spurs were about to be scored. Now these are my key highlights about Spurs. I think on this show many times many people or many panelists have said this, that it was a very bad decision for the management of Spurs actually to sack Thomas Frank and bring in Tudor, somebody by the name Tudor. Yeah, if you look at the track record of Tudor does not have even the muscles to coach such a high class kind of club in England. He has not proven himself elsewhere. So to me, they made a bad decision. And number two, I think they should just relieve him of his duty and bring somebody who has at least some knowledge about English Premier League. Maybe they are, maybe should we say that they are former player or somebody who has been in the Premier League for some time, who has that experience, just to make them survive. Because if you look at how things are right now, I think they are one point above the relegation zone, which is very, very difficult. And if you look at the pressure that each team has right now in the Premier League, I don't think if there is an easy team. Even Burnley is not an easy team. So for Tudor, it is very unfortunate for him, and things are going to be even worse, because even today we were able to hear that I think he lost his father. So if you combine such like things, or if you mix up those things, then I don't think if Spurs will survive. And if they'll survive, then it will be just by luck. So for Tudor and Tottenham, it is one of their worst seasons. Tudor does not deserve to be at Tottenham. Tottenham, they have sacked good managers. They have not been very patient with the managers they have been having. And yesterday it was actually it proved that they were almost going to relegation zone. Now, again, another thing that is ailing Spurs, I think, is it tactically or their coaching staff, which is not okay, because they have so many injuries. And that one, to me, actually it questions, or I bring something like a question mark. Why should you have so many injuries? A big club like Tottenham, they should actually see how they can manage their injury levels to that matter. So Tottenham, I don't think if they'll survive, and if they'll survive, then it will just by a margin. For me, yeah.
Great. Brolin, imagine Spurs relegated. How does that sound to you?
Manze, Spurs naihurumia, but what I can say is that I think the Spurs, the problem with Spurs is not even the players or the coach. We can talk of the management. Juu sasa, I think Thomas Frank was somewhere better than all the managers that Spurs has had for the past let's say 2 seasons. So Thomas Frank was really alikuwa anajaribu. When you look at his success in the Champions League, alikuwa anajaribu Champions League, winning here and there, even struggling with more than 15 injuries, players on absent, others suspension. So Frank was really trying, but Igor, let's say Tudor, this guy has no experience. What I can say, this guy totally has no experience, and the players are just playing like they haven't even bonded. Like ni kama wamechukuliwa tu leo akampaje, go to the field and play. You just play, do what you can, just play. So there is lack of momentum in the team. So for them to go to relegation, to us as London teams, it's really bad for us because it's only Tottenham that give us 6 points every season. It's a guaranteed points for us. So when they go, for us, we will feel those are 6 points gone. But Tottenham, for now, I don't think even if it's sacking Tudor will help them. For them, I think, because even if you sack him right now, he'll still be the same Tottenham. Because Frank went, Ange went, Frank came in, Frank tried, Frank went. Just see the consistency. The players are just there. Like we can see even Xavi Simons came in, but he just relaxed. He has done nothing with the team to help the team. Even Richarlison is trying, but really the other team, there's no force. Like even if you just see their midfield and their defense, there's no chemistry in them. Like everyone wants to prove their ego up. I think it's about ego in Tottenham. Maybe someone earning more than the other. Even the management. I think the issue is management here.
All right, great. Let me hear from Ben Soik. Ben Soik, if you look at the next Spurs fixtures, they are quite interesting. They face, after the international break, Spurs are away to Sunderland, then home to Brighton, then they face Wolves. They still have to face Aston Villa, Leeds, Chelsea, and Everton this season. Look at those fixtures, around 7 upcoming fixtures whereby you think Spurs maybe could they make it to survive, or it could go down on them? Unmute your microphone.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, you're good now.
I would say Spurs surviving as a relegation depends on West Ham results now. Since Nottingham already asked themselves from that relegation spot, and I think Nottingham wanacheza vizuri sana. Their gameplay imeamka, wameshajiondoa. So Spurs surviving is based on West Ham results now. And I will say in the next matches, just like Brolin amesema, the issue at Spurs is not even players. Xavi Simons is a great player. I look at Kolomwani, that's a great player. So the only issue iko pale ni iko hapa kwa player management. Managing the players wanataka tu kuamsha the mentality. That is what I could have said when asked about Spurs. But I think they will win at least 2 or 3 matches before in the 7 fixtures.
Okay, great. Yorkshire, if you look at some fans are calling for Igor Tudor to be sacked. Remember, he just came in this year, so he's yet to win a Premier League game, but he has won 1 game as a Spurs manager, beating Atletico in the UEFA Champions League just last week, 3 goals to 2. But imagine a scenario whereby you're chasing out Igor Tudor at this point whereby you're yet to win your first game in this year, and you're only 1 point above relegation zone. If you decide to chase him out, who would you bring that will make Spurs survive relegation this season?
Sagini, kuna mashabiki wa Tottenham walikuwa wakitravel kutumia ndege, walikuwa na ule aliyekuwa kocha wao Mauricio Pochettino aliwafikisha kwenye finali ya Champions League, na walikuwa wakiimba nyimbo nzuri sana wakimsifu, wanamtaka arudi. I think at the moment Mauricio Pochettino ndiyo kocha ambaye kwa sasa anaweza kuokoa hii Spurs, lakini from a Manchester City's point of view as a fan, it will be even better for Tottenham to be relegated, because kila season Tottenham hata kama wako vibaya wanapata points kwetu, kwa hiyo itakuwa ni relief sana kwetu, lakini bado ni pigo kubwa kwa Premier League, because Premier League nayo unaangalia tax kwa tickets pale, viewing rights pia itakuwa affected, na Arsenal pia wataumia. Kumbuka season hii wamepata points mingi sana kutoka
even Arsenal wataumia, maana yake ampata point nyingi sana kutoka kwa Spurs msimu huu, lakini bila shaka nimempoteza bila shaka hapo kidogo tu Yorkshire, lakini ujumbe wako umeshafika nyumbani kwamba hawafai kuondoka katika ligi kuu Uingereza msimu huu kuelekea relegation timu ya Spurs. Lakini pia kando na hilo, pia namuona hapa kwenye Facebook comment section Edith Kimbi anasema kwamba anatazama akiwa maeneo ya Nakuru. Asante sana kwa kutenga muda wako na kujiunga nasi mubashara katika kipindi cha leo the final whistle walk with Sagini. Now, I want us to switch gears and talk about another team or other teams which are also struggling, just like Spurs. Chelsea and Liverpool are also struggling to make it into the top 4 to play European football next season. I saw a banter online on X after Chelsea were eliminated by PSG in the Champions League that the UEFA Conference League are happy to welcome back Chelsea into the Conference League. And Brolin is here as a Chelsea fan. Rukus, let me just hear from you first. Chelsea walifungwa 3-0 na Everton. Do you think they'll make it into the European places next season? That is the UEFA Champions League.
Chelsea ni kama ule msichana mwenye ukimwangalia kwa mbali, they show a lot of potential until they open their mouth and then you find out pia hata hajui kizungu. Unfortunately, I have to use that analogy. Now, Chelsea really show potential on paper. If you look at the players they signed, you see the projects they have in mind, unajua the mega projects, the players they have signed in the past, let's say 2-3 years ago, or the past 3 summers they have been able to sign, really big money signings. But when it comes to execution is where the problem is. Right now, they're gambling with a lot of issues. One, the uncertainty of the manager, the structure of play, that is the formation, and then also players don't have fixed roles. So the pattern of play in Arabika. And I think this is also transcending to how now they are really performing, especially in the big games. We have been able to beat Chelsea this season. We played with them, is it 4 times? I tried to confirm na Jumba, I'm not sure. But we've beaten them 4 in all those games, and not just beaten, like literally a whooping. So that just shows literally that our to Hawana structure, the control is not there. They're still really trying to pick up from the past seasons. They're not really showing a sign of growth, even though they've been talking about a project and they are recruiting young and all that. But they're not really showing the sign of growth when it comes to the big games. Look at how they played against PSG. Being beaten 3-0 at home. Why? Why do you do that? They conceded. They started off the game against PSG in the first leg, the first half. They played well and then they lost it. They ended up conceding 4 more goals. Why? So there is no clear structure to their play, and this is what is affecting them. Also, with that being said, also defensive protection inakosekana, and just creativity under pressure also lacks. You can see the likes of Parma going missing when you play against them or when they play against the big teams. So they're having a lot of issues to deal with, one being the manager, style of play, and that switching a lot of roles. Naona hiyo ndio inawaleta issues mingi sana. I don't think they'll be able to finish top 4, if you ask me. I think either Villa or Liverpool will be able to make it through, if you ask me. Although Liverpool have been poorer than Chelsea. But yeah, if you ask me, I'll just say that because I'm a fan of Arsenal anyway. Yeah. Unmute.
All right. Thank you, Brolin. Rocco says that he doesn't see you guys making the top next season. Then what's going wrong? And do you think you'll make it into UCL next season? Remove the earphones because it has a backlight. Just use your earpiece, Brolin. If I come to you, let me just answer me that before Brolin comes on air.
I'm back on air.
Can I go on, Sagi?
Yeah, please go.
Nimependa tu vile Ruku's like he's very humble. Mtu wangu, you have to be humble because I heard you saying ati uko hapa kujitetea. So naona hata unatetea timu zingine. Now, let me go back to the question. For me, Chelsea, I don't think if Chelsea will make it into the top 4. And I have this reason. You know, with the Chelsea, number 1, yes, they brought in a new coach, which is Liam Rosino. Liam Rosino, I'm one of those people that are backing him. He's a good manager. But to the caliber of Chelsea, maybe it is something that we need to prove with time. What I've seen with Liam Rosinho that will not make him maybe to succeed into the top 4 is he's not consistently like Carrick. Carrick has identified his squad and is working with his squad. You can easily predict the squad for Carrick, but for Liam Rosinho, you cannot predict. He keeps on changing. Look at his backline. This time he plays with Hato. Next time he plays with Fofana. Then you wonder, he plays James in the midfield, sometimes in the defense. So he's not predictable. That thing is going to haunt him to an extent that going into the top 4, it will not be easy. Then number 2, there was this sentiment that was made by this Argentinian guy. He's called the Enzo somebody. Their vice captain. He's called the Enzo who?
Fernandez.
Enzo Fernandez.
Enzo Fernandez. He made a statement and he said that they have lost the structure that Maresca had made. So that statement alone, it is sending a lot of messages around the squad and everything. So those two factors, they are going to haunt Chelsea. Then for me, I don't think if they are going to make it into the top 4, it will be very hard for them to do so.
Great. Let me hear from Bensoik. Brolin, I want to hear from you, but remove your earphones, please, because your audio is distorted. So remove them first before I come back to you. Before I come back to you, let me just hear from Bensoik. Bensoik, Chelsea and Liverpool are struggling to make it into the UCL next season places. Do you think they'll miss out in the UEFA Champions League places next season?
Chelsea will definitely miss out, but Liverpool will bounce back and they'll play Champions League next season. On matters Chelsea, they have no strategy, they have no coach or manager. The players are leading themselves. Actually, they are being led by the captains and the leadership in the dressing room. That is what I can tell you. But they won't make it to the top. Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool will make, but Chelsea.
Unaongea na confidence na mulikuwa hapo tu a few weeks ago.
No, actually, for us. No, what I wanted to say, Rukus, is that for us as Manchester, we identified our mistake. We have good players. We didn't have a coach to manage our players. Tariq is not a coach. He's a manager. He's managing our players. But Liam is an ass. Liam is an ass. That's what I can tell you. Liam is an ass.
or a teacher.
Mimi hata sitaongelea hiyo mimi.
Brolin.
Lakini kuna watetea.
There's something, Jumba. Brolin, there's something Benfica just said, and it's just funny to me because he just said that Chelsea doesn't have a manager, the players are leading themselves. Brolin, do you have a manager, and do you think he'll miss out on UCL next season?
Oh, okay. Let me say this and say it clearly. With Liam Rosonia, wherever the name is, Siji Rosemary, this guy is a gezo. Ni kama gezo tu anafanya. Like tukiangalia, this guy was at Derby. Was it Derby? Akafukuzwa. He was assistant of Rooney. Who does that? Assistant of Rooney anaweza upeleka wapi? Rooney, of all the people. Ukiangalia Strasbourg, I think alitoka wako number 7, like number 7. So this guy is just let's say a guesswork specialist. Right now, I can say clearly, I think the next 2 games, if we lose, we are number 10. If we lose, the next 2 games, we are number 10. So even the Conference League, we won't make it. This guy is just weird. The problem began, if you heard Enzo Fernandez very well, he will tell you where the problem began. The problem began the day it was announced that Maresca had gone. Was it a new year? Yeah, it was a new year. Maresca had gone. Then ukiangalia tu vizuri, we had this guy who assistant wa Rezonia, Sahi. He did well with Man City, got a draw. But what did this nigga do? This nigga came, just PR, is a PR. Yeye na Sakaja same WhatsApp group, PR too, doing nothing. Like ukiangalia players are just playing like
they are just playing like hakuna chemistry, ego. Sijui Palmer ako wapi, James hata siku hizi ni kama, I think Enzo Fernandez and Estavo, those are the only people who are playing. Sanchez was just building up his confidence in ball possession.
Yes.
when Maresca was in, but when this guy came, the confidence just went beyond the door, ama sijui under the bed, like everything just changed all of a sudden. Like you can see, we don't know the tactics of this guy. Today, the first game we played with Arsenal, ile Carabao, the guy had good tactics. We went even to 90 something minutes before we were beaten 1-0. The following game, he changed the tactics again. Like you can just see this guy, and I guess, like if you could see very well, a clear manager will come with the same tactics if he alikuwa mwashikilia to this, ama kama change a few things here and there. But you come and change everything completely. You want to change the players, you want to change who. PSG game tulipigwa 5. First half it was good, 2-2. It was a good thing. Then second half, dakika 74, when you have to defend very well, you're just doing some useless subs, guesswork. Then tactics may change, shifting. Sijui tulikuwa in diagonal form, then kidogo tumerudi in a straight line. I don't know what kind of tactics are those. I think this is just some of a PR guy who just need to be a software developer. I don't know why. He needs to be a software developer. These are 2.0, let's say Graham Potter ama Amorim 2.0. Even Amorim was better than this guy, bana.
Yeah, Neza Tete Rossinia, because this is unfair. I don't know, man. I feel like
30 seconds.
Berlin will get emotions, man.
30 seconds, Rukus.
I feel like Chelsea just needs structure and experience. They need experienced players to bring in a bit of advice. They have a lot of young players, and that's over-reliance in our cost, because one, in terms of big game management, the players play with a lot of emotion and end up quite chaotic. You can imagine how when you played against them, you can see the likes of Moises Caicedo rushing in on tackles that are uncalled for, playing bad fouls, and also being indisciplined. So kuna vitu tu kidogo they need to. They have a high ceiling, but wakiangalia tu on structure and experience, they really pick up, because they really play well on a good day. They really play good, beautiful attacking football. And I don't think the manager has any issues. The manager anahitaji tu pia trust, because long term it looks like a good project, but short term inakaa mbaya.
Bila shaka. Asante sana kwa hilo. Guys, whatever you're discussing, you're just a banter. There's nothing serious. Any comedy or any comic that has been made on this show, it's just a banter. It's no hard feelings, guys. So whatever Bruno was saying, it was just funny, because at some point even mentioned a politician. I was like, oh wow. But then here on the comment section, Brand Queer says, Jumba, for the Chelsea coach to keep on changing players is because he's trying to find the best player. Because wako wengi. But when given time and chance, he is a good coach. Never wasema Brand. This is something that I think Brolin will never accept, because it's just amemvua nguo zote kocha mkuu wa timu ya Chelsea Rosenio. But then, guys, on that note, we come to an end, or come to a close for this Monday's episode. I want to say thank you so much for my panelist, Brolin, Chelsea fan, Rukus, Arsenal fan. Once again, pole kwa kipigo cha jana, lakini pia hongera kwa Yorkshire shabiki wa Man City, lakini tuseme hongera pia kwa Bensoik, manake bado wako nafasi ya 3 kama the Red Devils, pamoja pia na Derek Juma. Niseme asante kwa wote mliofanikisha kwa kipindi kwa njia moja au nyingine, lakini pia niseme asante kwa wewe uliyekuwa hapo kutazama kutoka majira saa 3 kamili hadi sasa hivi saa 4 saa za Afrika Mashariki. Mimi naitwa Jason Sagini, the Sports Arc Bishop. Kesho ni siku tutatenda katika makala mengine ya The Final Whistle, ikiwa ni Final Whistle KE, kuzungumzia weekendi ya Kenya Premier League ilikuwaje weekend 25, mambo ilikuwaje, na kwamba Shabana walifungwa na Gor Mahia uwanjani Nyayo, wakati AFC Leopards ikifunga Tusker goli 1-0. Hiyo ni kesho kuanzia saa 3 kamili hadi saa 4 saa za Afrika Mashariki. Final Whistle KE, Kenyan Football Show, tomorrow at 9 p.m. till 10 p.m. talking Kenyan football. For now, it's a bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure having you guys. Until next week but one, where we'll be having another episode of the EPL after the international break that is coming around this weekend. Mimi niseme asante kuwa nanyi na watakieni usiku mwema. Kwaheri. Kama kawaida, michezo ni yetu na spoti ni sisi. Bye bye.